cold. Tell me something I don't know. What? Tell me something I don't know. What? Tell me something I don't know. Like when the drop whole game in the chokehold. They call a podcast Poppy. King goes, I see they.
Hey everybody, it's the coach. You're tuned in to Sunday Night Football on EA.
All right, Coach, it's the NFL on EA Sports as you take a look there at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, PA. Tonight, it's the 512th and final game of the regular season, and we've got a good one between the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. They go play action here on first down. And he's going to drop this off to his fullback. It's a gain of 7, and it'll make it a second down.
They've got good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what happened last week to really hurt their performance and hold down their production, but I would dare say that this week in practice, there's a lot of talk about how they're going to increase their proficiency.
And that was a good start, getting the playmakers involved. You mentioned that to me pregame. That's what they did there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think the coaching staff really gets on them, and that's how they motivate them. Most of these guys are self-motivated. They have a lot of pride in their performance. Well, partner, I'm not sure how this drive's going to end, but how about the way they flip field position there? A nice attacking play. They picked up a heck of a chunk of yardage.
And he is met quickly in the backfield. Down he goes, folded like a lawn chair. That'll set him back with a loss of 3 on the play. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 13.
Set! 3-19! 3-19!
Back to throw. Daniels. And he overshot him there. It's out of bounds, incomplete.
Well, that certainly looked like something that they discussed all week in practice, getting ready for this one. Take the big shot right out of the gate. At worst, you'll open up the defense a little bit, loosen them up, have them back on their heels.
Throwing on 3rd and long. Daniels. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
Pressure, and that's certainly going to be a key to this game going forward. And that time, they were able to get in there and influence the throw. And remember, quarterbacks got to get rid of it. They don't have the tuck rule that they can fall back on anymore.
And he's got room. And they do finally get him, but he takes it to the 25. A big play that time for the Seahawks. 62 yards on the ground. Well, welcome to the party. First carry of the game. How about that?
And just think, as far as he's concerned, he's just getting warmed up.
Now a play fake here on first down. That is caught at the 7. And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. As his guys are in for 6. And the Seahawks have taken a first quarter lead.
Brandon, my man, just one sentence for that one. Clinic.
And that's what they've done. They lead the league in points per game this season, but it's been quick strikeability as we saw in that drive.
I think they're actually intimidating defenses because they're back on their heels right away, wondering where it's going to come from, how they're going to hit them. This group is well organized, well coached, and extremely confident in what they do.
And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. The Eagles offense now gets set to head back onto the field. As the season winds down and you look at them in totality, you know, the offense has struggled. The defense has been pretty good, so I would imagine the changes this offseason may be more on the offensive side of the ball.
And this is where we always hear the term complementary football because, as you noted, the defense has played well enough for them to win games, and the offense has held them back. So they've got to reward that defense by improving on offense.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit them with a screen soon.
Here we go now.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And a very short pickup there across the 15 to the 16. They get 2 yards back, but they're going to need a lot more than that here on third down. The starters defensively now for the Seahawks. They were strong last week, CD, and that went over New England.
If I'm playing quarterback against this team, after what I saw on film where they had 5 picks last week, all I'm thinking about is taking care of the football, being very careful with it, and making sure I see my guys open before I throw it.
I might curl up in the fetal position.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't think he's going to do that, though.
Gun! Set! 3-19! 3-19!
Throwing on third and long. Daniels. And this is going to be incomplete. And this passing game's whole offense really didn't show up in the loss last week, and it hasn't started all that great here either.
Yeah, and they can't let that incompletion become an uh-oh moment. Like, oh boy, here we go again, just like last week. Each game is its own entity, treated as such.
Tennessee offense making their way out onto the field as you take a look at the playoff race in the AFC. And right now, a lot to like on that screen. They've wrapped up the division, now currently sitting in the coveted number 2 spot. Of course, you love number 1, but if you can't have one, number 2 is pretty good. He's got it at the 15. It's a big play there for Seattle, and even 60 yards.
That's a big-time pitch and catch right there. And, partner, I remember the days when quarterbacks would try this. They were holding their breath. But nowadays, they're counting on their receiver to be just a little bit better than the defensive back when it's one-on-one and the ball's in the air like that.
And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. A great play there with his 16th touchdown of the year. And the Seahawks add on to their lead. And now a 2-point conversion attempt forthcoming. Solid job up front. Really just a solid job all the way around to get that one in.
That was well executed, wasn't it? Well blocked, well run. End result, 6 points.
Touchdown. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Here comes Eagle offense now as they get set to take over here. Already down 2 touchdowns here in the first half. This becomes a pretty important drive, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and a lot of the teams script plays. We know that, right? They have a script to start the ball game, and typically those scripts go between 12 and 24, 25 plays. Down 2 touchdowns early, probably not very deep into their script. I think that they'll stay with it. I don't think they'll abandon it just yet and try and generate some offense on this drive.
Anything. At least 3 points, get that 0 off the board. And they'll go ground game here with a tailback. And he stopped immediately there. Call it no gain on the play, and it'll be second down.
And while there was no gain on that run, we do know coaches whose identity is rooted in taking it almost to the limit and then changing things up on you down the stretch. I think we're getting really close to that point in time, though, where the identity map to go out the window, and they've got to go a little bit faster in order to try and win the game.
12 yards there as they keep this drive rolling. It's another first down.
To win any route, you've got to break down the defender, and that's exactly what happened here on this really nicely executed curl route.
On 1st and 10, Daniels, and Walker with it over the middle. And he gets this one to midfield before he's brought down. The numbers for Walker from last week's effort: 4 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown.
And he was able to pull that last pass in, but he's going to face a tall order here because he's going up against the number 2 unit in the NFL against the pass.
And they've got it here with a first down. This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10.
Here we go now. 3-19. 3-19.
From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up second down. Seems like this defense, especially the secondary, has really been contesting about every throw in this first half.
Remind me of a good half-court defensive basketball team. Every time a pass is thrown, they're right there in good defensive position, able to affect the play.
And he gets this inside the 35-yard line. 17 yards on the pickup there. The drive will continue. It's a first down.
Here we go now. Green 39. Green 39.
Off play action. Daniels. And his throw is incomplete. Those passes out that far wide always make you hold your breath a little bit. Felt like it was in the air for a while.
What it does is allows a defender to gain some ground, come from a long distance, and have a chance to affect the pass.
Back to throw now on 2nd and 10. Touchdown, Philadelphia. In for the score. And the Eagles are back within a score. And a nice job by him to catch the slant and then navigate and break free.
And receivers love slant routes because it gets the ball in their hands so quickly and oftentimes on the move. And when they're on the move like that, then they get to use their best asset, which is usually their speed.
And their speed sometimes, like this instance, can take them into the end zone. This game back within a touchdown now as the kickoff's away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback.
Detroit! Detroit!
He finds an opening past the 40 and brought down across the 50 to the 49-yard line. A big hitter there, a first down gain of 26 yards. We've seen him break off a big run already in this game, and for a second, that one looked like it might be another.
Yeah, I think that any defense would say, look, we can't let him get to the second level because sometimes he'll break off the big run on his own, but oftentimes you get additional blocking at the second level, which gets you deeper into the secondary.
Escaping the pressure right. On the crossing route, complete. That's Jenkins. A good pickup there of 20 yards. Solid catch there for a man who's been so brilliant this year. Worth pointing out, as we were talking about earlier, there has never in the 60-year history of the award been a pass catcher, tight end, or wide receiver that has taken home the MVP trophy.
And the best receivers I've talked with, they know that stat, and it drives them crazy because they understand that without a quarterback, they don't make the plays that they make. They also don't feel like they get enough credit for bailing out some of the throws that quarterbacks make.
Absolutely. It takes two to tango.
And that last carry puts him right at 100 yards for the game. So how has he done it? Because he's been patient, followed his blocks, let everything develop, and then burst through for big gains.
And his throw here's incomplete. Well, too much oomph, too much mustard there on that pass.
Yeah, really turned it loose, didn't he? Really cut loose with that one. Sharp, strong. Didn't lead to a completion, though. Made it very difficult.
They'll look to throw. Rolling to his right. And he took the contact as he was throwing it, and the ball drops incomplete.
Not only was the call spot on, how about the execution of that defense right there? Zone was absolutely locked up tight. He was trying to force it in there on third down.
But if there's a time to force it, he felt like he needed to make a play, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Third down, you got to try and find something. There's nothing available there for him.
And finally, down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. Wow, first and goal, and defensively, all they can do is shake their heads. Not only did they allow the conversion, but a big play as well.
Well, the field goal attempt was well in hand. They had that, but they decided to go for it anyway. Extreme confidence, it looks like.
Yeah, but I bet the defense is going to remember this one, right? They kind of rubbed their nose in it. And he is in for the Seattle touchdown. A great effort there. His second touchdown of the game, 17th on the year. And the Seahawks find a way to stretch their lead. This time, the extra point up and good. And always a good first half when you can hit pay dirt twice.
And it never hurts to have that good feeling as the game moves on. Just think about halftime. If that's all he gets, he'll just sit there at the half and think, all right, 2 already. I can get some more. And it'll be encouraging his offensive line to create some space.
Here's the Philadelphia offensive unit now as they head out to take over possession.
I guess they have to feel a little gratified to at least get on the board last time, but still work to do.
No doubt about it. I wonder now if they're going to try to increase the urgency a little bit, maybe pump up the pace, maybe go 2 minute. Who knows? Let's see what they decide to do.
Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9.
Well, it's time for them to be good teammates right here. And what I mean by that is possess the ball for a little while. Get at least 2 first downs. Give their defense a chance to settle down a little bit after they give up a touchdown.
A 2nd down pass play there, but it's incomplete. And the hit jarred it loose. It's incomplete.
No, check, Patriot!
Didn't have a receiver open downfield, and as it turned out, couldn't even find his outlet man because of the coverage. It was way too tight. Unable to find anyone open.
Pressure comes. He's taken down by the Seahawk defense. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Coming up at the half, a reminder, we go back to Orlando to check in with Jonathan Coachman. They'll have a look back at our first half as well as a look ahead to what's coming up later this weekend. Yeah, he was looking for the checkup bounce, didn't get it. That scoots all the way into the end zone now for a touchback. And he's got some space here. That good for 22 and a first down. Well, he's broken off some big-time runs here in this first half.
Yeah, and let's just face it. When you go into a game, you think you've got the plays that are going to work, but when you actually get out there and they're starting to happen, your confidence rises, and he's running with terrific ability right now.
He'll look to throw. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
Well, they're slinging it, and then there's one you got to put a timer on, huh? I mean, that one came in hot.
Yeah, came in hot, but overthrown out of his reach and incomplete. And 2nd and 10, he'll look to throw again. And that is incomplete.
Feels like they're getting caught in between here because they didn't incompletions on 1st and 2nd down. Now you got to worry a little bit about the clock because you prefer not to give them another shot here in the first half. But if you don't pick up the first down, guess what? You're likely going to have to.
On 3rd down, he'll drop to throw. Oh, he's got him in wide open, complete. That goes for a gain of 31.
There will always be a place for methodically marching the ball downfield. But when you can pick it up in big chunks and strike like that, have explosive plays, that's often the difference in winning and losing. Those types of plays that can knock a defense off balance, that'll drive a team towards a victory.
And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. A great play there. On his way to a monster game. 3 first-half touchdowns. And the Seahawks add on to their lead. This is becoming quite the half he's had here.
Remember in our pregame meetings, they talked about wanting to run the football and staying with it? Well, when you're scoring this many touchdowns, there's no reason to go away from it, is there? They are off to a fantastic start. They hope it continues.
3 already for them. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. This fielded at the 2. Gets past one man. And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Here again comes the captain of this offense leading his crew back out there now. And how does he rally the troops, so to speak? He's played well, but they're down big on the scoreboard. How does he get his guys going?
To make sure they understand it's not a me game, it's a team game. Everyone has to come together. Everyone has to up the level of play a little bit, including himself, and find a way to make some plays in order to give them a little bit of a spark and rally the team.
We'll see if they can indeed rally down big on the scoreboard right now.
319! 319!
On 1st down, Daniels. And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. And he's going to score. It's a Seahawk touchdown. That pick six extending this lead even further. And boy, it's been a while since I've seen a team struggle this badly in the first half.
I think all they want to do is get to the locker room, try and regroup, and come out to start the third quarter. But if things don't improve fast then, I think the backups get a lot of play in the second half.
So they throw the pick six. They'll get another shot at it now as this one's in the air. This fielded at the 2. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 25-yard line. Here comes the field general leading his offense back out there for the next possession. A lot of the problems have been on the other side of the ball. Is that frustrating for a quarterback who's been playing well?
It is, but there's no way that the best ones let their teammates know that. They actually take it upon themselves and say, okay, I have to do even more, or I need to play better. Maybe even say I put my defense in a bad spot. That's what true leadership shows you.
Yeah, he doesn't need to change much personally. This quarterback now 8 of 15 through the air, but it's 1st and 10 here. Off the play fake. Daniels. He's looking deep for Bell. He couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out. Incomplete. Some of the fans here don't seem too happy about what we've seen in this first half.
No, not at all, and I understand why. They've looked lethargic, out of sync, and it shows on the scoreboard.
Throwing again on 2nd and 10. Daniels, nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And the Seahawks have recovered. And in this very cold night air, how much harder, Charles, is it to hang on to that football?
It's a lot harder, and I know for the most part we think about a ball being slick when there's rain or snow, any type of moisture. But when it's cold and dry like this,
cold.
And it is.
And he is in for the Seattle touchdown. As his guys are in for 6. And the Seahawks are running away with this one.
I heard a coach talk about those late-in-the-half scores, especially ones that give your team a pretty decent cushion. He said those could be the ones that could finish off a squad if you let them.
Yeah, they've got the cushion. This half has been theirs. This fielded at the 2. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32-yard line. 15 seconds, all that remains for this first half as they come up 1st and 10.
Now let's go. Green.
Throwing on 1st down. Daniels. And he'll be brought down somewhat awkwardly here, and a late flag as well. I think this one's going to be a face mask.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Charles, did I just hear that right? They declined the personal foul. 3 yards. They just declined it.
And I have to think that the official is thinking to himself, did I just hear that correctly, that you declined that one? All I can think of is that someone on the field got confused. Because they had to, because you're going to take the yards on that penalty each and every time.
And he'll be out of bounds. And a nice gain of 21 yards. Not time enough for a play and then a timeout, you wouldn't think. So with 4 seconds left, they're going for it.
Leopard! Leopard!
They'll try and run for it on 1st and goal. And he's across the chalk into the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks. A great effort there in the final seconds of the first half. And this Seahawks offense continues to pour it on. The extra point up and good. And the route is on here in this first half. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. This fielded at the 2. And okay, so much for our halftime break. Apparently we're going to get right back to it. The final 2 quarters of the NFL regular season are upon us as the second half of Week 17 is underway. This one fielded at the 5. And this does not end well as he's going to be out of bounds here at his own 5-yard line.
Well, not exactly a banner return, so he doesn't give his offense a whole lot of room to work with. They've got to go a long way now to try and score some points. I do know this from experience. There will be a few comments muttered his way by the offense as they head out on the field.
And a scary incompletion, almost picked off. It would have been their first INT of the game. Instead, second down. They got the win last week despite not having any interceptions. Tried to come up with one there, could not. But there's a stat category called PBU, pass breakup. That's important too, and they got one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it because at least you're
He's got a man, complete. And they do finally get him, but he takes it to the 25. A big play that time for the Seahawks. And even 70 yards. And a good quarterback facing zone coverage. If he has just a little bit of time to survey the scene, that's what's going to happen.
No doubt about it. If there's no pressure, he's going to continue to pick them apart because he'll have all that time to find someone open downfield. You can only cover for so long. So maybe they want to go to a zone blitz scheme, get a little bit more pressure. Remember when Carolina did that against Denver? They lost the game ultimately. They dropped the defensive end out, and he ended up with an interception in that game in Super Bowl 50. Maybe some sort of scheme like that to try and get more pressure at the passer.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Well, we looked at each other right away. We knew that flag was coming out.
And I always enjoy the conversation post because officials always tell you, I don't want to throw the flag, but you caused the play. You did it. I had to.
And they'll run it here. And he's going to press this one forward as they stop it right around the 1. Second and goal from the 1.
No. Check. Patriot.
They get it to him running left. And he will take this one in for the Seattle touchdown. A great play there with his 19th touchdown, his second of the game. And the Seahawks are running away with this one. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. So here are the Eagles now as they get set for their first possession of the second half. They trail offense, first time to touch the ball in quarter 3, and we'll see what they can do.
And I can't wait to see what they have planned because some teams script to start a half. Other teams just go, okay, these are the sequence of plays we want to run. These things worked well for us. And sometimes they throw in that big chunk play right away.
Shocker.
Try and get after them early and try and create a big play to give themselves some momentum.
See what they have up their sleeve. And they'll go on the ground. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield. Call it a loss of 2 on the play. And that's going to lead to a 3rd and 12.
Hurry up, here we go. Blue line.
Operating from the gun, Daniels. And for a 3rd time tonight, he's intercepted. Picked off near the 42. And they will set up shop in enemy territory at the 42-yard line.
All right, work with me, partner. This is a classic understatement. Their execution has been very poor. Last 3 drives, 2 interceptions and a fumble. Winning football? We're not seeing it right now.
He sets to fire deep. And it drops down incomplete. Thought he might have had it. Instead, second down.
Finally, a good play there defensively on the deep ball. The secondary has had its struggles this entire game. Offensively, they've had their way with them.
Ball on the 42 as they come up 2nd and 10. He'll try again with the arm here on second down. He's going to loft one deep left side here. And they went for a big play through the air on second down. Couldn't connect. Now it's 3rd. The turnover put them in great field position. They don't want to squander it with 3rd down coming up.
No, not at all. And you know what else you do? You make your defense mad.
Yeah.
They got you the football, gave you a great opportunity. You got to cash in and get some points.
Wide open receiver complete. And he takes this just a few yards shy of the red zone before going out.
Holding offense.
So a decent gain, but all for naught on the penalty.
It's too bad, isn't it? They were feeling pretty good about it. The only people celebrating, the guys who just gave up that play.
And the stop here will come at the 38-yard line. That one good for 14 yards. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice, solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
Now this time he'll look to throw. And he finds a man on the crossing route. Defensively, a bit of a collapse, allowing the 4th down play to result in 23 yards. Well, there's your leading receiver in the NFL in terms of yardage, putting on another clinic, well over 100 yards.
Are we taking notes? We should be, right? Because I'm going to go back and watch this tape and really enjoy what I'm seeing. The route running, competing for the football, just breaking down a defense.
And he is in for the Seattle touchdown. A great effort there, taking it in from 14 yards out. And this Seahawks offense continues to pour it on. And that rushing touchdown is 4th, puts him just one shy of the NFL record in a single game.
And we all know he would love to get to that record and even beyond it. But he doesn't need to in order to impress in this one, does he? What a performance. What an absolute great game that he's had here in this one.
And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. The Eagles offense now, they head back on the field. They have been struggling. I would imagine at halftime they went through some possible changes. Well, those changes aren't working, so now where do you go?
I think that now it's much more in their head. And what I mean by that is just what you said. You've gone over the changes. I bet they were pretty clinical at the half, not too emotional. They might need to go to the emotional side because you've got to find something, some spark somewhere. And so far, just being calm hasn't exactly worked.
They need any spark at this point. And he'll get to the 29-yard line, brought down there. That throw good for 4. It's 2nd down.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, you're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before he could get a good head of steam going.
Over the middle, complete. It's Bell. And they work this well upfield across the 45. With that catch, he goes over 100 yards receiving on the night.
I think it all came together there. In-breaking route, drove it with excellent pace. Money throw right there to move the sticks.
Looking to throw. Daniels.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
To throw on 2nd down. Daniels looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Simpson. And, he's going to be brought down by the face mask. Here come the flags.
Personal foul.
This is going to get him a
Face
first
mask.
down.
Defense.
So they'll take the yardage and tack on 15 more for the face mask.
Talk about a play that absolutely costs you in the end. Just trying to do your job, right? Trying to get him on the ground. Next thing you know, they march up another 15 against your squad.
Walker with a grab, left side. Another nice gain, 13 yards that time, and another first down. This quarterback now, 5 straight completions here in this second half. 1st and 10.
Hurry up, here we go. Green 39, green 39.
And welcome back. We are in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. And this is a blowout so far as we get set for the 4th quarter. A very one-sided affair.
All right, here we go.
On 1st and 10, Daniels. Simpson reels it in over the middle. And a loose football. And the Seahawks have picked it up. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
All right, you've had to put up with me in this booth. I'm going to try and be simple this time and succinct. it simply has not been their night.
No, I think that fumble's kind of indicative of how this whole evening's gone, isn't it?
Without a doubt. I mean, they've tried, but nothing has ever really taken throughout the game. That's why they're down so big.
Officially no gain on the play, and it's second down.
Well, Brandon, pace comes into play now because they've got the advantage. They've got the football, but they've got to be very careful about what speed they're going to play. You know, my music teacher back in New Paltz, this is my Thema Bagley, used to say, don't go prestissimo when you really want to go largo. And what she meant by that is don't go too fast when you really want to go at a nice, slow, deliberate pace.
I am speechless. I am without speech. It's a big play there for Seattle. 46 yards on the ground.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is he getting stronger as this game moves along?
Burst seems just as good here in the fourth as it was way back in the first, doesn't it?
I do believe someone put a lot of time in the offseason and continues to condition during the season in order to continue to carry the ball at this rate.
Check, Patriot! Patriot!
And they'll try the ground game here with the running back. And that play going absolutely nowhere as he's belted before he could get out of the backfield.
Brandon, it's clearly a running situation when you're up in the fourth quarter. They're going to have to stack the box and make it difficult for them to move the ball.
Made it very difficult right there. Now they need to repeat that effort.
Yeah, bring 7, 8, 9, whatever it's going to take to slow him down.
And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. A big play there. His 17th touchdown now on the season. And the Seahawks are running away with this one. The Seahawks offense staying put out on the field. They're going to go for 2. So another score there. And often you talk about the 3 phases of the game. Defense, offense, special teams. It's been a clean sweep in this one, hasn't it?
It certainly has. They've been pretty dominant throughout this game. And privately, the head coach will add a 4th phase. That's the coaching. And he'll tell the ownership that as he tries to negotiate a new contract off of this win.
They are looking strong here in the fourth quarter. This is taken at the 3. And he'll take this one near the 25, call it the 26-yard line. The Eagles offense making their way back out as we take a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. And it's all come down to this, hasn't it? Final week of the regular season. As this year's playoffs play out anything like the regular season has gone, could be in for a wild and fun month of January.
And we can break the rules because we can look ahead. All right, there's not a coach out there that's ever said to their team, all right, let's look three weeks down the road. It's always right here, right now. Forget that. Think about what the playoffs are going to look like. The teams that we see that are already in, the teams that are trying to get in, we could have some great matchups.
Throwing middle, but it's incomplete. Another wayward pass. You know, things started out poorly in this game, and to be frank, they just really haven't gotten much better.
And all that does is embolden a secondary. They feel good about what's going on, and they just play better and better.
Back to throw. Daniels. And that one drops incomplete as he got popped as he was throwing it.
Putting pressure on the guy throwing the football is always good, but when you can couple that with contact on him that leads to an incompletion, as we just saw there, that's winning football.
The Seattle now ready to march out of the field. And this game comfortably in hand. The scoreboard speaks for itself, but you still got your starting quarterback out there. When do you go to the backup? Let him get some time.
And that's one of the great questions in the NFL, Brandon, because I'm just going to tell you, in the 2015 season, I commentated on 3 games in a row that were blowouts. And in none of them did the starting quarterback ever come out of the game for the team that had a big lead. And in each instance, I asked the coaches later on, why didn't you do that? And they all looked at me and said, just don't really do that in the NFL. You know, these guys play, and we just play them all the way through. Now, in certain situations, they will take them out, but for the most part, they're not as worried and concerned about getting them out of the game. And that's always puzzled me a little bit.
He's able to plow forward up to about the 29, just shy of the 30. Call it an 8-yard pickup, and it'll be 3rd down.
But you've got to give kudos to your offensive line and the guy carrying the ball because they were in a 2nd and long situation. It seemed pretty dire, but they brought it back to 3rd and manageable with that run.
They'll set up to throw. And he's got his favorite target yet again. It's complete. It's a big play on third down for the Seahawks. 58 yards.
And they just hit another big completion there. And I think in days gone by in the NFL, you might have asked, is this a little bit of overkill? Is this rubbing it in? I don't think people feel the same way nowadays.
It's the age-old argument. Then you could say on the other side, if you're going to get angry about it, stop it, right?
Go ahead and stop me. And I think a lot of the times they just look at it like, let's just play the game. And however it turns out, it turns out.
Another nice gain, 13 yards that time, and another first down.
He's still rumbling, isn't he? Still looking fresh in this one despite the heavy workload. But you and I both know, well-conditioned, and he did tell us that he thrives on being at his peak late in ball games.
They'll try and sneak it here. And they are going to score again. Yet another touchdown as they just add to their totals.
Well, I've got to laugh here, and I really don't want to because the old school in me is not happy about this score this late, not necessary. But this is Madden, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is how it works.
Rub it in. Have a day.
I mean, what does it matter? These guys who are playing in this game, there are no feelings
exactly.
there.
They don't have to face the guy. Well, they might if they're in the same room going head-to-head.
But that's
the
about
virtual guys on the screen don't have to face each other after this one.
In that case, run it up.
Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. This is fielded at the chalk of the 10.